Welcome to Obstacle Running Adventures.
Over the last 7 years, we have consistently released weekly episodes focusing on
obstacle course racing, running, and other adventures.
You'll hear interviews, event recaps, conversations about our sport,
quick news updates about happenings in our community.
And now, here are your hosts,
Standing on the corner,
Michael Stefano and Caitlin Ritter.
Hey guys, it's Michael Stefano.
And Caitlin Ritter. And happy birthday, Michael.
Yeah, thank you. It was
33.
good birthday. You know the trick to having a good birthday and not like worrying about being old is to think this entire time that you were turning 34. Then in reality, you're just turning 33. So
Wow.
Perspective is everything.
What was the highlight of the last year of your life?
Passing my BCBA exam easily. So that's something where I try to look back and like, oh, where have I grown like as a human being, not weight wise. And that. So that's been good. Focusing on that.
What did you buy today?
I bought myself a bicycle. Very excited. Very excited. I wanted to buy a bike for passing that exam back in October. Finally did it today. Better late than never. And I rarely, despite like my intense video game collection, I don't really spend a lot of money on myself. So.
And you haven't bought yourself a single video game this year?
Yeah, just one. Because I had like a whole bunch of coupons. I'm like, let's use it all on this. But so that was good. Caitlin, how was your weekend?
It was good. I went to a bachelorette party.
Yes, you did.
I was the maid of honor for Bonnie's last splash, and we went to Orlando. And the waiter today complimented me on my tan skin, and that never happens.
No, that does not happen. Let's give a shout out to our sponsors.
Shout out Mudgear, use code ADVENTURE for 15% off your next Mudgear purchase. And shout out Caterpie, use code OCRReport20 for 20% off your next Caterpie purchase.
Perfect. It's not the first of the month yet, so we're going to shout out the $5+ Patreon supporters.
Nope, it's the 26th. Jason Dupree, Samantha Thompson, Bradley Keel, Charlotte Engelman, Aaron Grindstaff, Laura and Stephen Ritter, Hank and Arlene Stefano, Kenny West, Cheryl Miller, Jessica Johnson, Nick Riker, Christopher Hoover, Kevin Gregory Jr., Evan Irick, Brent George, Logan Nagel, and Asa Connington.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for the support. We greatly appreciate it. And to the OCR Report, great home for us on the internets, and to Will Hicks.
The Podfather.
Check it out over at theocrreport.com. They're working on something exciting and hopefully helpful for us planned for September. So we will see how that goes. September's coming up soon, so yeah, we'll see. Let's give a shout out to our sponsored athletes.
Javier Escobar, Kelly Sullivan, Ryan Brazilara, and Joshua Reed.
Yeah, Javier, who I reached out to, I think we found his World's Toughest Mudder 2019 medal, along with another medal and a shirt and your headband. Where was all that?
In a pile of things we were donating.
Oh, shit.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, okay. That should not have been in there.
So you need to check twice before you donate things.
Right, we're going to skip poll results and meme of the week, because we got a lot of quick news to talk about and not a lot of time to do it. Starting off with Daniel Romanchuk, who got married.
Daniel Romanchuk posted, "Blessed beyond measures. Words will never fully describe how much I love this incredible woman. She's a beautiful light to all around her, and I'm so blessed and excited to be on a lifelong adventure together with her. Thank you, God." Mr. and Mrs. Daniel and Hannah Romanchuk, August 3rd, 2024.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I don't think we talked about that before, but congratulations to him. He's not related to OCR, but we had him on the show. He's one of like the best wheelchair marathoners in the world. He's phenomenal.
He's an adaptive athlete.
Yeah, big fan of him. Great. Seemed like a really great guy. I interviewed him for the Falmouth Road Race. God, hundreds of episodes ago. Long time ago. I also wanted to give a shout out and a reminder about the USA OCR National Championships. So, Julie White-Fi? Oh yeah, she got married. Posted, OCR and Dalton friends, we are hosting the USA Obstacle Course Racing National Championships in Dalton, Georgia. This is huge, as it will be the qualifier for Team USA for next year. Athletes from all over the nation will be attending. It will also be the first ever competitive national championships for adaptive para-athletes. I don't think that's true. I'm pretty sure we've done this before, but that is exciting. So this will be the first ever championship event with a female race director as well. I think that might be true. So yeah, let's make history together. So this could be a 3K, 3K and a 15K. The event is October 12th to 13th. So if you're looking for something awesome to do, consider checking that event out. I want to give a huge shout out to Scott the Fane Knowles because I Am a Spartan podcast just hit 200 episodes. Pretty crazy. We just shouted out OFX, who he was a big supporter of the show. Scott's been a big supporter of the show, and likewise, we've been supporting both of their shows. So congratulations, Scott. Really proud of you. And the show's kind of changed in format once in a while, but I enjoy hearing from his redneck friends, and I don't think they'll be offended because I think they call themselves that too.
I feel like you can't just call people rednecks.
They're interesting folks, and I'd be interested in meeting some of them. Also crazy to think that I've only met Scott or seen Scott like 3 times, which is kind of crazy.
I think I've met him once, and it was when he was pouring soap.
No, that was olive
Everest.
oil, or as he calls it, olive oil. Oil. I don't know how he says it, but it doesn't sound like oil. He had truckfuls of olive oil, but no, we saw him at Palmerton.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see him? Yes, we saw him when we were driving in, and he's like, "Wow, Mike, you're running like competitive," and I'm like, "No, just talking an easier way." I can talk about that now, right? Yeah. Trevor Psychos has a new book coming out. It might already be out at this time because I'm a little late to this. I meant to talk about this a few episodes ago, but catching up on notes.
Trevor Psychos posted, Dear Grandma Rose, release date August 1st, 2024. I've long debated releasing this book. I wrote it for my family and expected it to set my grandma's bookshelf. I only share this story because this is a perspective you don't hear about in the media. These aren't the stories you read in books. This is a grunt experience and one that shows what it was really like during the War on Terror.
Yeah, so I'll be interested in maybe buying that book and trying to support him in that way as well. Now in quick news, we're going to get to some baby news, starting off with Simone Spirito.
Simone posted August 20th, 2024 at 22 o'clock, 3.196 kilograms.
And I totally should have hit translate before I screenshotted this. Stand by.
I think the baby's name is Jacopo.
She says, a new chapter begins, now waiting for the final touches of the house to move in, and then everything is ready. Congratulations to them.
Oh.
Also in baby news, Nikolai Dam had his baby.
He said, Damling delivery, August 21st, 2024.
Yeah, congratulations to him as well. And he messaged me saying, what did he say? Hopefully he got himself a new cheerleader, so I love that.
Oh.
And he also wished me happy birthday. That's also very kind of him. Next up is the Spartan Sprint and 100-meter World Championship money update.
Spartan Race posted on Instagram, Spartan will be competing for more than just a place in history when the 100-meter and Sprint World Championships kick off in Croatia this October, as $100,000 in total prize money is up for grabs.
But where in Croatia is it?
Hvar.
I know, you skip over the words.
I know.
Yeah.
I've been to Croatia. It's beautiful.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah, that's right, you have.
Yeah,
it's going to be the same weekend as the aforementioned USA OCR event, right? So that's not the greatest. October 10th and 13th, and...
It's during spooky season.
Yeah, also, yes. Most importantly, spooky season. I want to give a shout out to Allie Tippett for celebrating her 4-year wedding anniversary. She said, this guy, best 4 years of my life. Happy anniversary, press. I love our adventures together and watching you be the best daddy ever. That's very cute.
His name's probably Preston.
I was thinking that. That makes sense. Next up, I wanted to talk about Obstacle Wonderland, who is looking for a title and a theme for the next event. They posted, we've always been proud to put our folks first, but we need your help. One of the biggest events of the year at Obstacle Wonderland is getting a remix, and we want you to pick the theme. When Spring 2025, formerly our Spring Fever, that's not just Spring 2024. I did it this year. That was the Boogie Wonderland. Loved it. 70s themed.
That was during the summer.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
No, I thought it was April.
No, that was right before vacation.
No, the stadium was right before vacation.
Oh.
Boogie Wonderland was a while ago. I'm looking at my medals for those listening. You guys. Yeah, throw your best name or theme in the comments, and the winning choice will get a special gift from us. So I think it's pretty great.
What did you vote for?
I didn't yet, but go and support Obstacle Wonderland. I had a great time last year, and I don't think I'll be able to make it to the Hell Weird episode, but it would be nice. And this next one comes to us from ORM. This is Uncertain News by Caitlin.
West Virginia Trifecta World Champion 2025?
World Championships.
Since 2017, the Spartan West Virginia event has consistently featured a Trifecta weekend and hosted several championship races. Traditionally, the Beast course is scheduled for Saturday, followed by the Super and Sprint races on Sunday after overnight course modifications. And a departure from tradition, the 2025 race at Summit Bacul will see the Beast held on Sunday, a scheduling approach previously observed only at the Trifecta World Championship in Greece. While the Sparta venue in Greece remains a viable option for future championships, there is considerations for potentially rotating the venue. Given its history of a large attendance and proven economic impact, West Virginia could be under consideration as a new location for the Trifecta World Championships in 2025.
Yeah, so we'll see. That'll be pretty interesting. Some people in the comments are saying, they're already planning to go to Greece. So, I mean, it's been pretty reliable that it's always been there, so that's a little bit of a change.
Go to Greece, adopt a kitty, bring them home, give them the best life.
What? Is that from something?
No, Greece is, known for their stray cats.
Oh, okay. I feel like a lot of places have a lot of stray cats.
No, but these cats are, everywhere.
Oh, gotcha. Next up, I wanted to give a quick shout-out and well wishes to Aaliyah Emus, who posted, "What better way to experience another country than to experience their healthcare system? Definitely not the way I plan to be spending my time during the 2024 OCR Championships, but shit happens." So, short story, she dislocated her elbow, and she was unable to participate. So, bummer for her. ORM posted a concerning attendance update. So, this is according to their numbers. Caitlin?
This year's World Obstacle OCR World Championship in Costa Rica saw a drop in attendance in individual racing categories from their first year last year in Genk, Belgium.
Yeah, so what do we have for the numbers for the short course?
277 finishers, and the standard course had 209 finishers.
So that is very, very low. I know that they were boasting that they would get... They had some outrageous number that everyone knew, that there's not a chance you're going to hit this. OCRWC doesn't even hit this. And then they kind of fell upon that. But also, they didn't do a good job in building awareness. Costa Rica isn't really known for OCR. Apologies to whatever the governing body is there, but there's no real... I try my best to have a good view of OCR around the world. I'm working on Asia now. But yeah, there's not much going on in Costa Rica down there so that I knew of. So that happened. And no shortage of issues. Next up, we're going to talk about the standard course podium issues brought to us by OCR Buddy.
OCR Buddies said, update on women's elite standard course podium. Due to a miscommunication from race organization, there is an unresolvable difference in the times between all three winners. Consequently, the women winners agreed to accept a share gold. Your 2024 World Championships are Ulrike Everson, Nicole Miracle, and Elisa Petrova. And then there was an update that said podium reversed to the original. Ulrike Everson is the world champ.
Oh, I didn't see that update.
Then he said, I'm leaving this post up just to remind us all that in the end, we have the same goal and desires to provide the best possible sport we can. It
also shows kind of what a shit show this has been. And if it seems like we're dunking on World Obstacle, I kind of am. It's very disappointing that they're saying, hey, we're the governing body, this and that, and then we're not even done yet. Next up, this comes to us from Vivian Tren, and she posted, on behalf of the USA women's team, it's our disappointment to announce that decisions were reversed that reinstated a team that was originally disqualified. Our coach, Alwyn Cosgrove, fought for us all. Every technical director and technical official agreed with the original disqualification. However, after a lengthy appeal by the disqualified team, in additional protests, only a penalty was assessed despite video and audio evidence provided, as well as the on-site technical officials witnessing in multiple infractions that would result in a DQ. So the gold, pun intended, lining is a well-deserved win for the Netherlands. These women fought so hard on course. Congratulations to these incredible women and athletes. And I want to be very clear that all of my annoyances aren't directed towards any of the athletes. I don't know the full situation about the story. And you know what, I would be covering this, and I have covered this when it's not about the USA team too. I know it was Danish athletes that got screwed over at European Championships. It sucks when you have an event that's not showcasing the best athletes, and these are the stories that are getting more traction because they need to be talked about so they can do better. It's a vicious cycle, and I want to shine on the podiums. We're going to get to that next, but notice that there was very much a shit show here as well. But now we'll get to the OCR FISO World Obstacle podiums. All right, let's do ladies first. So for the FISO World Championship 3K.
In third place, Elisa Petrova. In second place, Beatrice Moyen Silvestri. And in first place, Yelricky Everson.
And this is just according to post on ORM, so I don't know if anything else changed.
For the men, in third place, Frank Ostrom. In second place, Jesse De Heer. And in first place, Stijn Legrand.
Yeah, shout out to the Netherlands there. Well done.
And for...
Oop, my bad. This is for the standard course.
In third place, Elisa Petrova. In second place, Nicole Miracle. And in first place, Ulrike Everson.
Yeah, congratulations to her for taking first both times. That's huge.
And for the men, in third place, Igor
Bulasov.
In second place, Stijn Legrand. And in first place, Jesse De Heer.
Yes, here. Also, it's very confusing.
From the same country. Oh, no.
Nope. Like, the flag's a little different. And following that, I know, lots of quick news. Not so quick this time. The Spartan Temecula Sprint podiums.
For the women, in third place, Chloe Milliken. In second place, Natalie Miano. And in first place, Faye Morgan. And for the men, in third place, Jeff Shady. In second place, Glenn Rice. And in first place, Mark Batriste.
Batrice.
Well, which one is it?
Trace, like the number trace. And the final quick news story is the Toughest Mudder Chicago podium.
For the men, in third place, Daryl Good. In second place, Joseph Rucco. And in first place, Brock Holtzclaw.
Holtzclaw, that's a cool last name.
And for the women, in third place, Kelly Winter. In second place, Sarah Tucker. And in first place, Jenny Overstreet.
Who we will hear in this episode in a bit.
And for the teams...
Oh, we just have the team names.
Third place, Finkel is Einhorn.
Einhorn.
What is that? Did I just say something dirty?
I don't think so.
In second place, the Sunday Drivers and the Complaining Girlfriends.
That's great. I didn't notice that.
That's funny. And first place, I feel like first place is always the four logos.
They usually do pretty well, especially for the Toughest Mudders. Congratulations to everyone involved there. But let's quickly get to what this episode is all about. There was a lot that happened this weekend, as we recently discussed. God, how long? Damn, 21 minutes into this. But there's just a lot that happened, but between events that I was interested in covering that deserved attention and people that I wanted to have on the show for their own episode for the first time, I reached out to the winner of Toughest Mudder Chicago. So I first met Jenny Overstreet at a race in Kansas back in 2020, before the world shut down. She's been doing well with Ultra OCR, so I was excited to talk to her more and give her own episode. So let's get to Jenny. So we'll start off with your name and where you're from.
I am Jenny Overstreet, and I am from, actually I live in Riverside, Missouri now, which is just north of Kansas City in Missouri.
Nice. So I realized we've only had you on the show once before, I think during OCR America 2. So that was a long time ago. How have things been?
Yeah, that was a very long time ago. Yeah. Good. And I am actually married now. So my last name is Stipp. So like half of my things you'll see are STIPP Stipp and half of it's Overstreet. So it's kind of crazy. Yeah.
When titling this, should I use Overstreet or which should I use?
Oh gosh, I'm like half and half on everything. So
I could hyphenate.
We can say Overstreet. I think that's how most people know me. So that's fine.
Perfect. And let's start off with, how did you first find obstacle course racing?
Okay, so I started obstacle course racing I found it in 2017. I led a boot camp group through my gym that I was working at, and we wanted some type of goal to work towards. And it was there's a local one here, the Kansas City Timber Challenge, which was where I met you, I think, at what we just talked about. So anyway, oh my goodness, but I'm trying to think. Yeah, it's 2017. We went to that one and just loved it. And I think that group of us, we did probably 10 more, and we still do, some of us still do some of them for fun here and there. So I'm constantly trying to pull people into them all the time. But then, the next year I tried to do one competitively, the Rugged Maniac here locally. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Yep.
And that was the first competitive one that I did in 2019. So that's when I started trying to do it somewhat competitively. So
you mentioned KC Timber Challenge. I did the Yeti and I really enjoyed it. But I recently had Evan on to talk about a lot of the central US races. What are some other ones in the Midwest that stand out to you?
Conquer the Gauntlet for sure. That's kind of the one when I stepped into it was like the most, like the hardest, obstacle course race with all the more like challenging obstacles and everything. Obviously Kansas City Timber Challenge, Warrior Dash was here for a little while too. Again, rest in peace.
Yeah.
I Yeah, the Midwest is, I mean, obviously there's a couple newer ones in the last few years, but it's always been kind of a tough place for us, I feel like.
I know it's a black hole when it comes to Spartan race, so that's always difficult too.
Yeah. Yeah. And everyone, when I talk about obstacle course racing, they're like, oh, so you do like Spartans. I'm like, no, I can't afford to go to Spartans. They're too far away. No.
That's something Evan said too. He's like, that's one of the reasons why I don't do Spartan. That and it doesn't really appeal to my obstacle difficulty, but also just he has to fly to get to anything that's close by. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Going back to Conquer the Gauntlet, what do you think about the news about the main prizes kind of selling it off? So this is going to be the
Yeah.
last year under them, and the next year, I forget the man's name, but it's going to be under someone different. What are your thoughts on that?
John Taylor. So I don't know him super well personally, but I see him a lot in races. Like he again is from the Midwest, so I've seen him at the Kansas City Timber Challenge almost probably every single one. And he's just super good guy. He's always got these group of kids like that he's helping train and pull into obstacle course racing. So I think I mean, we'll see what happens. I think he's a great guy and I think he has great intentions. So I think it could be amazing. So
Fingers crossed. I know that is like that's been on my bucket list for a while, and I feel bad that I still haven't had the chance to go out there. And thinking that this was going to be the last year, I felt even worse. But hopefully, it maintains its reputation, I guess.
yeah. I think it probably will. I was just having this conversation with someone earlier that like Conquer the Gauntlet has always had just a really strong following and like a good core group of people that are diehards. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
And then you're also on the Mud Gear Hannibal Race Pro team. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so it started out as Conquer the Gauntlet Pro Team. So we kind of morphed into something a little bit different, but yeah, it's a great group of us. This year is a solid crew. Like everyone, every weekend is somewhere racing and pulling off like major accomplishments. So it's pretty cool to be a part of that team still. But yeah, this would be, I guess I think I joined in 2020, so fourth year with
Yeah,
them. So
you're like one of the OGs.
yeah,
That's
absolutely. Yeah, because
awesome.
there is no Spartan team anymore, is there?
Nope. And so let's get into this big event. How are you feeling preparing for Toughest Mudder Chicago?
So I had never been like I've heard a lot about Chicago that it's typically a pretty flat, like fast course. So a lot of running. That's just kind of what I do anyway. I like ultra running, as well as obstacle course racing. So that was like the main prep for it is just running a lot and getting prepared for that. Obviously, it's kind of hard to do. Like, what can you do for a 12-hour overnight thing? Like, the things that you have to worry about are like things you can't really prepare for. Like,
Right.
I'm not going to stay up all night multiple times in a row.
Exactly,
So,
because you
yeah.
practice the running distance, but like you're not going to practice sleep deprivation. I don't think that's something you can really necessarily do,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, definitely. And I will say that this time was like probably the hardest part for me, which I've done several of these. I've been to Worlds a couple times and I wasn't really expecting to feel tired. Like I actually felt like I needed to go to sleep at some point through it. So that was kind of a new thing for me. I don't really know why that happened this time, but give it some caffeine and jump back in. So yeah.
I guess we should talk about that too a little bit. What's your background with the Tough Mudder Endurance series? Because I've seen you on the podium quite frequently too.
Yeah, so I think I did my first toughest 3 years ago in Indiana. So that was 3 years ago I did toughest, and then 2022 I did my first Worlds, and then I did another toughest last year and Worlds last year as well. So Worlds is the fun thing. Like that's what I'm in for sure. So
Favorite event of the year. That's my favorite event of the year.
absolutely.
What do you think about the format changes and stuff over the years? Because I believe it started off as like a 12-hour, then it switched to 8-hour. It's kind of like changed a little bit.
I feel like I actually jumped in, like it hasn't changed too much since I've been involved. I know a lot of people, like I've had a lot of friends that have told me about like all of the things and how much has changed back and forth and everything, but I don't know that I really experienced it that much. Like it's all been pretty consistent. There's been a little bit of up and down with different like ways of handling obstacles and that kind of thing. And I know there was some talk of like I don't even know, like doing penalties all at the finish instead of like throughout the course and stuff, but I don't know that ever even really happened. So yeah, so there's been like little minor things, but for the most part, I think it's all been pretty consistent since I've been involved. So
Okay. And I'm trying to think if it was Tough Mudder Infinity or the Toughest Mudder where there's like 2 lap options. There's like a longer lap that you can take and a shorter lap. Is that?
yeah, I've heard about that. I've not done an Infinity, so I don't know how that works. It sounds interesting. It sounds like there's a bit more strategy involved with knowing what to do. So
Also seems like a tracking nightmare too, which is what I think of.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, from a timing standpoint, I can't imagine. Yeah.
So getting back to this race, how did you said you mentioned you got tired and everything. Walk us through, not, the entire 8 hours, but just walk us through like the general overline of your event.
I think like it started off pretty strong. I went out feeling pretty good. I started feeling tired, like I said, early, but gosh, I'm old. I got to sleep at like 9 p.m. So I think that's why I think my body like started to shift into its normal like rhythm of going to sleep at 9, 10 p.m. And that's when I about got tired. Like I didn't really recognize it at the time, but I'm like fighting this like sleepiness and trying to just keep moving and keep moving. But yeah, like I said, I threw in a very like strong caffeine gel at one point and it seemed to help. So I was able to kind of like push through that. I don't know if you want me to go through like the whole race, but like I mean, it's pretty your standard, like you're going through obstacles or rolling open. So by midnight, I think everything was open. EST was the last obstacle to open, which is fine. Like I like EST actually, so like it's not a bad one for me. But yeah, once everything was open, it was just kind of a matter of like thinking about how long it was taking me to get through the course and which obstacles were taking the longest. Some things were wet, so I was like feeling things and doing penalties and just kind of like navigating which stuff took the longest to do. And as we got through, I definitely had a little bit of race brain because I thought I was 1 lap ahead of where I actually was.
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't know any of that until the very end. Like my goal with this was really just to keep moving the entire time, as much time as I possibly had to move. So it wasn't until like I finished my not my second to last, my 9th lap, I asked where I was at in placement and then like kind of had to think about if I was going to actually have time to finish another lap and go out and those kind of things. So yeah, like a little bit of low moments in the middle, but like all in all, it was like a pretty flowy like race. Like there wasn't any one obstacle that stood out that was like, oh, that was the worst thing. It took so much time, like everything was pretty consistent. I think they actually did a really good job of like the penalties weren't too hard. Sometimes they go like real crazy on the penalties where they take, 15 minutes or something, where these like seemed like they were just like set up really, really well, where it was actually a penalty that yes, cost you some time, but it wasn't like a devastating thing that you had to do.
So for those new to Tough Mudder, and they're just more used to Spartan or other events that don't have as interesting of penalties, what were some penalties that you saw there?
The bouncy ball thing, I can't even think of what it's called.
Oh, you brought that back.
Yeah, it looks so dumb. It looks so dumb, but it's so deceivingly hard. Like it is hard on your body. Like your quads are on fire when you're done with that thing. And then you have to try to start running again and try to start like jumping and doing obstacles again. So as silly as it looks, that is like the worst one. Yeah.
Were there any others that like stood out? I know in the past they've had some that I didn't quite agree with, where you had to like change into like muddy onesies or something like that. Like what any other goofy ones like that?
Yeah. So this was not there, thank goodness. The two that honestly, the one that I will always remember because it's like the haystack one where they put little things out in the hay bales and you have to dig for them. Like this takes no like athletic skill. It's just frustrating. Like it's just frustrating. So that's one of my least favorite. That was not there, thankfully. Yeah. And then I have done, I think at 22 Worlds, we had the pajama thing where they had like pajamas that were, I don't know if they were already in water, if they were just wet from people putting them on and taking them off, but you had to put on like top and bottom and then run a penalty loop with those top and bottom on. And that was kind of silly.
That's
Yeah.
an interesting one. I'm glad you brought up the like finding the whatever it is in the haystack, because I remember I think it might have been World's Toughest Mudder 2019 that I was really trying my damnedest to get through the gauntlet, which was like tippy toes and it was like 3 obstacles back to back. And when I started failing it, I realized that was a penalty, and I'm like, wow, I feel really dumb for doing the obstacle now. And it's important for them to like put a priority, like there should be a reason to complete the obstacle. And so when I got there, I'm like, find the little purple army dude. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. It's a weird one.
Yeah, that is true. It is good to like give more incentive to actually putting work into the obstacle.
Yeah. And then when it comes to battling sleep, I know you talked about EST. That's one good way to kind of battle the sleepiness.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What other kind of strategies did you employ to kind of stay awake?
Again, I mentioned the caffeine. I really think that that's like super helpful for me. Like if it's, I don't know if it works for everybody. Some people do, some people don't, but, also feeding off of other people. I think like trying to like engage with other people, while you're running, and also at obstacles. Obviously we've got like the Everest Angels and, the Men of Matterhorn and like all of the people that are out there all night. If you can just like say hi and say something like motivating, or let them, just talk for like a brief second as you're going through, like I that always like motivates me a little bit.
Yeah, that's awesome too. Because again, I say this all the time, but a lot of people don't realize that the Men of Matterhorn or the Everest Angels, all the people that are out there helping half the time, all of the time, whatever, they paid for a race, and this is how they choose to experience their race, which is pretty cool. How is the turnout for those people? I know sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less.
Everything was manned very well. Yeah. Like that's always a concern because, I don't know. I mean, there are some things that I need help with, especially after a run for 7 hours, like my legs are not going to make it up Everest. Like it's just not going to happen. So they were all manned very well. Like I at no point was I, worried that no one was around to help. So that was awesome.
It's awesome. When it comes to caffeine, I've talked to a lot of athletes that go out of their way to take less caffeine like the couple weeks before the race. Is that something that you do too? So when you do take caffeine during the race,
I used to do that, but I think like more recent studies have kind of shown that that's not really beneficial.
Okay.
You might just mentally like feel more, I guess, if you were to do it that way, just like, I don't know, even if it's a placebo is real, right? So,
right.
But I really like, I am a coffee drinker, and I choose not to like feel miserable for a week or two before the race. Like I'm going to choose that daily happiness over just a little bit of a boost maybe at the race. So yeah.
That's fair. And then were there any obstacles there that you obviously you get access to the course map and everything, but were there any obstacles that you haven't like seen in a while, or anything that kind of stood out that was different? Just kind of like the
No,
same.
I feel like everything was really, really like standard world, not world, but Tough Mudder. Yeah, nothing. I mean, there were 2 significant creek crossings, which I think they're always there in Chicago from what I hear. And sometimes it's higher and sometimes the creek is lower. It was more for sure like streams. Like there were points where there was actually a little bit of a current that you were fighting, trying to get through it. So, I mean, it's not like scary, but it still was like putting in a bit more effort than just like knee-high water that you're going through. So that was like kind of the only really different thing. I think all the obstacles were things I've seen before. So
makes sense. And with like the water crossings and whatever water obstacles that they have there too, how do you balance? How do you take care of your feet during it? Do you just wear the same pair of socks and shoes the entire time, tough it out, or what's typically your plan for that?
I do. Yeah, I do. I don't. I like want to knock on wood right now before I say this, but like I don't have feet issues. Like I do pretty well with getting through water. It doesn't bother me. I actually took a picture of my shoe after the run because I took it off and it was just filled with like rocks, and I mean, I'm not saying that felt good. It did not feel good whatsoever, but it wasn't to the point where I was like having to stop multiple times to empty them out or anything like that. I don't know. My feet just kind of put up with it. So.
Yeah. Also, to further not jinx it again, I see all these ultra endurance people, and I have to work my way back up to call myself ultra endurance again. But like so many people lose toenails and this and that. I've
Yeah.
never lost a toenail. I don't.
Yeah. Well, I have lost a toenail, so I will
Okay.
say that, but it's never been like a painful situation. It'll be like kind of randomly my toenails like falling off. Like like it's not something that bothered me during the race or anything like that. So yeah, same. Yeah, and I mean, I feel for people. It's a big deal. Like people definitely struggle with it, but I've never had to do shoe or sock changes really, or worry about putting like lubricant on my feet or things like that. I just kind of I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but
And sometimes it's
I'm
training enough.
thankful for it. No?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
sometimes like training
Yeah.
enough and kind of simulating to the best of your ability in and out of water, all that goes a long way too. Because I've run World's Toughest Mudder with a few friends that are frequently changing their shoes, changing their socks, and I'm like, it's not going to get better. Like they drive for what, half a mile, and then they're going to get wet again. So I'm very
Yeah.
pro. If you can, keep your damn socks and shoes on.
Yeah, same. I have heard that that can be again like a mental like thing, like it just makes you feel better for a second, even if it's only for like 2 minutes. That I've never taken the time to find out if it's worth it or not. So
Fair. And it
yeah.
counts against you with like pit time too. So what were your pits like?
Like hits, I try to keep them pretty quick. I didn't have a crew this time. My husband was there, but I needed him to sleep so that he could drive us home the next day.
That's
So
important. That's important. Crew.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess I did had one little mistake or issue that came up with my headlamps. So I had two headlamps and a spare set of batteries, and I went in and changed my batteries in my good headlamp and went out with it, and it just stopped working halfway through. Like not even halfway through, maybe like a quarter mile out. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm just running in the dark now. And so that was not super fun. Yeah, I did almost that whole lap without a headlamp. Now, granted, like how it is, they light up the obstacle, so there's like a lot of visibility anywhere near an obstacle. And then if there's other people around, you can kind of like feed off of their headlamps a little bit. So it wasn't the worst thing in the world, but it wasn't exactly fun either.
Right. And it's scary too. Like
Yeah.
when you're a little bit more compromised after running X amount of miles, you're more
Yeah.
likely to like tweak an ankle or something if you can't see where you're going
Yeah.
too. So how is the overall like terrain in terms of like runnability? You said like a little bit of elevation, but
Yeah, there wasn't much elevation. I think the only elevation would have been like going in and out of the creek, ravines and things like that. But it was a lot of grass running, which I hate grass running. You know how it is, like there's a little slightly uneven.
yeah.
Feels like you should run really fast, but it's also hard to run really fast on. Yeah, so a lot of that. I actually, funny enough, I did roll my ankle like 3 times, but it was when my headlamp was working. Like when it was off, I was fine. So yeah, that was kind of silly, but like, yeah, I mean the train is. I guess there was some sections of like somewhat dirt road-ish, but a lot of it was just like uneven, field kind of grass stuff. So
Yeah. Did it get
the
like
usual.
one aspect of having grass is it keeps it from getting like super muddy, but where the dirt parts did that get start to get like washed out? I know sometimes the mud can really slow you
Yeah.
down if you're slipping and sliding.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, eventually it actually was pretty dry. There were chances of storms, which I'm thankful didn't happen. Mostly dry, but like you said, especially coming in and out of certain water obstacles, it always ends up as a mess. That's like before and after. So
Yeah. Going back to all the headlamps on course, another huge variable with how your race goes for some people is like how many people are out there that you can talk to, cheer on, just kind of like mentally release on and just kind of feel that camaraderie. How was the turnout of this event? Did it feel like it was a big to do?
it felt good. I'm trying to remember. I don't know what the final numbers were. I actually meant to look at that today to see how many participants there were because it felt like the biggest, toughest events I have been to.
Oh, good.
Which is not a lot, but I think it was like a good comparison. Even there were people out pretty consistently. I mean, I wasn't completely alone ever at any point. I mean, I was running alone a lot, but you see people sporadically no matter what. And I was impressed. Like there was a lot, usually a lot at night, you'll see people out there just like walking and kind of like struggling, but like it was a lot of movement. Like it was really high energy and I don't know, a lot of like competitiveness. And so it was good.
It's interesting because it's a tough sell for a lot of people. It's like, oh, all right, like Tough Mudder's on your bucket list. How about a Tough Mudder where you run it multiple times It's in the dark.
Yeah.
You're gonna be hungry. You just want to sleep and this and that. And to me, I'm like, you've already sold me on it. I'm in. But for a lot of people, that can
Yeah.
be intimidating. I think. Do you think that like the Tough Mudder Infinity could be a potentially like good feeder system to Tough Mudder to Toughest Mudder? Like, do you think that could be like a good gateway drug for new people getting into it?
Possibly. Yeah, possibly. I think I haven't done an Infinity. I need to do that. I probably will try to get into one next year. It's kind of just the same thing, timing and location wise. They just didn't work out for me. They sound interesting. I don't know how it works exactly with like a mass number of people like
Right.
and trying to get through that and navigate through obstacles and everything. I think that would be like one of the harder parts for me to kind of navigate how to handle obstacles in that way. But yeah, I think so. It's definitely less intimidating to be out during the day than it is to be out for 10 plus hours of darkness, you know?
Exactly. And then what was your fueling strategy for this event too?
What is what? I'm sorry.
Your fueling strategy for like food and nutrition.
I primarily do like liquid gels. I kind of have a iffy stomach, so I've played around with a lot of nutrition products, and I do a high carb, high fueling strategy. I actually like really rely on my watch to tell me in races, like every 25 minutes or so, it depends on the race and what the distance is, but to take one of those gels. And I do start like incorporating like Coke. Like I love Coke whenever I'm running.
Yeah.
Don't I Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola.
I didn't make the joke.
Yeah, yes, that's how it works. No, not something I really like drink much outside of racing, but for whatever reason, it does the job when I'm racing. So that is one thing that like when I would pit, I didn't really like my pit consisted of like a box full of gels and then like a bunch of extra stuff that I never had to use. So just coming and grabbing that stuff and kind of keeping on moving. So but yeah, I try to just keep the carbs flowing consistently and
yeah,
I don't know.
I'm always impressed when people can fuel with like just liquid because I'm more of like a peanut butter M&Ms and cosmic brownie fueler myself.
Yeah.
You won't see me winning any races, but it's exactly that. It's like my happy food, just how I imagine Coke is for you, where you don't eat it often or drink it often, but when you do, it's like that good mental pick me up. And
Yeah,
soda's great for that.
absolutely.
That sugar spike is like you can feel that in your brain
Yeah.
like, at night.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I kind of joke around like, nutrition products are so darn expensive to to go through that many of it. Like, I wish that I could just eat candy, honestly. Like, but it just doesn't work with like my stomach. So
Yes.
I'm a little jealous of people that can.
The best ultra aspect of me is that I have like a iron gut, so that's never really a problem.
Yeah, that is amazing. That's one of the hardest things to figure out. So
yeah. And so you talked about, training mileage and everything getting into this. I saw that you did, was it a 100K event in July?
yes. Yeah, I did 100K, a local here, 100K.
Yeah. So tell me about that. What event was that?
So that's a local one. It's a smaller event. I think I'm actually the first female to ever do the 100K portion of it. So it's kind of cool. Like I hope that continues to grow for them. But yeah, it's a trail that I run out somewhat consistently. It was three laps of a 20-mile trail course. It was not a lot of elevation, but pretty technical. Again, smaller event. Actually did it because I was going on vacation like a week later and I was like, I need something big to like big to do so that I can like just rest and relax and recover because I knew I was not going to be able to do that on vacation. So yeah.
That's a good strategy. I need to do something like that for myself too, because when I'm on vacation, I can't like sit still. And Caitlin's like, my wife is like, relax, you're on the beach. And I'm like, I need to do something. So doing 100K the week before might be a good idea for that.
Yeah, that same. So then it's like, okay, this rest and recovery is what I'm supposed to be doing. Yes. Yeah.
Exactly. And so you buried the lead a little bit. You said it was a somewhat low turnout, but still you won overall, right?
Yes. Yeah.
How did that feel?
Good. Yeah, it felt good. Yeah. I mean, it was a really bad race for me, if I'm being honest. Like I did not reach the goals that I was intending on, like with timing and that kind of thing. But it was good. It was a good learning experience. It was also very, very hot. So it kind of taught me a lot about cooling and cooling strategies and putting that into play and nutrition practice and that kind of stuff. So it was great in that aspect. And it was rewarding to finish it, so that was good.
And then tying it together, when things go wrong, do you have any like mantras or anything when you get tired, when something goes wrong in a race or your stomach goes south, any kind of mantras that you have in your head?
Gosh, that's a good question. I think they change a lot, but I don't know. I don't even know. I mean, I would say like a lot of what I'm telling myself is that like this is only temporary, this is temporary. We just make it through this. I also like, I guess I do kind of break things down into, this might seem silly, but like segments. So like at Toughest, for instance, when I saw my watch hit like 4 hours, I'm like, okay, we're a third of the way done with this race. Like you only have to do what you just did 2 more times, like, okay, I'll just 2 more times. That's fine. Or like if it's a multi-lap thing, I laughed at myself a little bit because I was trying to talk myself through a section of the course in Chicago that I didn't really like. It was just kind of long and daunting. And I was like, okay, we only have to do this 7 more times. Like, wait, 7 more times? That's not helpful. Like, that didn't help me.
Sometimes too, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So do you enjoy, when it comes to like ultra endurance events, do you prefer multi-lap segments, or what's ideal for you for these kind of events?
Oh, that's a good question. I was actually thinking about that. As I was moving, there was a moment where I like started walking for a minute. It was a heavy carry, but it was not very heavy. I will say that was one thing, that their heavy carry was like 5 pounds or something. I don't even know how bad this weight thing. But I started walking for a second, and then I started running, and I was like, the faster we go, the sooner we're done. I was like, wait, that's not how this race works. This race does not work like that. So anyway, I was just thinking about how timed events are actually maybe not harder, but like a different mental challenge for that reason. Like, I really like both. I like both aspects of it. I like pushing my body to the extreme and like trying to feel the discomfort of trying to like go faster whenever you don't want to and your body doesn't want to. But also like the mental challenge of making it through a full 12 or 24 hours or whatever the time limit is too. So
yeah, because the nice thing about ultra endurance is there's a good variety, right? That there's the multi-lap, which I fell in love with Fit Challenge, getting to do the same thing over and over again. It drives some people crazy, but I like it because it's consistency and like just do it again, do it again. But there's also a big piece of me that likes you can't really find, I mean, I'm sure they exist, but just I don't know, start and finish, and it's just going on an adventure to someplace. Like you park at the start line, take a shuttle. No, park at the finish line, take a shuttle to the start line. Like that's kind of interesting too. But then there's also the like backyard ultra format. Have you ever thought about trying something like that before?
Yeah, so I've done one. Have you heard of Leaky Hourglass here in the Midwest?
Yes, I think I heard Evan talk about that.
Okay, yeah. So the race director is a guy that's been in the community for a long time. It's essentially a last man standing, 4 mile out and back. I think it's a 4 mile total, so 2 miles out and back. But you go out every hour, but every hour you lose a minute off of that hour. So yes, so it's very interesting. Like it's a different take. I don't think that there is another race with that specific format. Anyway, I have done that one, so I've gotten to experience a little bit of the like last man standing, like backyard ultra kind of thing, and it's super interesting. I do want to do one at some point. I just haven't found the right one yet. So after that one was great. That was fun. I don't love road running, so like part of it is that one, and all the ones that are around here are on pavement usually, and it's like, yes, it would be a great challenge, like absolutely. But would I enjoy it at all? I don't think I would enjoy like even a little bit of it. So, like give me a little bit of scenery at least,
I remember when I did my first marathon, it was actually Infinitus that's put on by the Endurance Society, who was like the co-founder of Spartan Race way back in the day. And anyway, I told like my roadrunner friends, like, oh, I did my first marathon. And they're like, oh, that's a trail marathon. It doesn't count. I'm like, the hell with that. Do you go up mountains in your road marathon? What is it? They're like, oh, you probably didn't measure properly. You're right. It was longer than a marathon. It was awesome.
Yeah, no kidding. Most of us, usually they are. Yeah.
But at the same time, I look at people doing road marathons and I'm like, that I don't know, impact on joints and everything, and just even if there's people
Yeah.
running the course, it just seems less alluring to me. I don't know. Because everyone's like, oh,
Yeah.
from Massachusetts, oh, have you run the Boston Marathon? Like, no, but I do some other
It's
crazy
insane.
stuff, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I get that question a lot. They're like, well, what's like your marathon time? And I'm like, I've never run a marathon. I
Right.
went straight from, a half marathon to ultras. So
Yes. And then how often do we hear the whole like, 50 miles or whatever? Like I can't I get tired just driving that much. Like that's like the
yeah. Oh
standard
yeah.
I've heard
Yeah.
from everyone all of the time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. And then start just overall, how did it feel to win Toughest Mudder as well?
It felt good. Like like my goal was really to go out there and just move the entire time. And I am proud of that effort, like more than anything. Like I said, I didn't really know. I had a good idea of where I was placement wise, but I didn't know until that like second to last lap whenever I actually asked. So yeah, like it felt really good. I think I part of like what we just talked about, like the mental like toughness of it all and everything was that I wanted to move the entire time and I had to kind of make a decision there at the end of do I keep going for one more lap or do I, I've pretty much secured the win. I don't think that the second place female was going to be able to catch up. So it's like, do I go out for another one? What do I do? I'm like, well, I have the time, you go out for another one, so like that almost like more than winning is what I'm trying to say is that like I feel good about the accomplishment of doing that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And this is something that I should know, but what is contender status for worlds? What's like elite contender status for World's Toughest Mudder? What's the mileage for that? Do you know?
I think it's actually 40 for females. So
Okay.
yeah,
And you ended up with
50.
okay, that's what I thought. So you you crushed that too. How's it feel? I feel like there
Yeah.
weren't looking through the results, I don't think there were many women that got elite contender status so far this year.
Yeah, I think this has been a tough year for qualifying. I don't know what the reason is for that exactly, but I hope it looked like a lot of people got it over the weekend. At least a lot of men for sure got it over the weekend. Those men were blazing fast. I don't know how they did it. Like it was pretty incredible to see them like flying by, like 10 hours in, still like cruising as fast as possible, it seemed like. But anyway, yeah, like felt good. I think I had elite status from last year's worlds still. So like I didn't necessarily wasn't like going for that, but I actually had thought I was a lap ahead than I so like I was like, oh, maybe I can get the male elite contenders, like not that anyone even cares or anyone like it matters whatsoever, but I did not. So yeah.
Still an awesome thing to shoot for though, definitely.
Yeah.
And then so I'm assuming plans to go to World's Toughest Mudder in Florida this year? Actually in
Yeah.
Florida?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Any goals or anything that you want to say about that? I know it's tough without knowing the course and everything, but anything in your head for
Yeah.
how you want to do with that?
Just like I literally treat all of these like that. I've made some mistakes in the past with it, but I've learned a bit from the mistakes to again move as fast as possible for as long as possible. So like the goal is always effort. Like you said, it's so unpredictable. Like I think to each their own. If you want to make mileage goals, absolutely do it. But to me, it's just like I don't know what the course is going to look like. I don't know what the penalties are going to look like and the obstacles. Like there's no way I can determine what mileage I'm going to run until I've at least been out there and the obstacles are open for a while, right? So yeah. So again, it's all just effort based. Like put in the full effort for the entire time.
Yeah, I know they have the sweet bibs that people shoot for too, but you're right. Everyone has like a plan until they get punched in the face. You think of last year where there was, I can't think of the obstacle, but where you're throwing the ball on the rope and the penalty was like really, really
Yes.
long. That was
Yes,
absurd.
I again, same person I was just talking about that earlier. I'm like, that's the type of penalty that it's like that penalty took, I don't even know how many times. Well, first of all, you had to attempt, well, unless you gave your band, I guess. But like you attempted what, like 3 times or something. That takes a good like 5 minutes at
After
least. And
waiting
then
in line potentially too.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And then go run an additional half mile through like a little like swamp too.
It was
Like,
nasty at the end there. We drove down there.
yeah. Like they're like I agree that the obstacles should make you want to do, or I'm sorry, the penalty should make you want to do the obstacle and complete the obstacle. Absolutely. But like that was out of hand.
Balance. Yeah, it needs balance. That's what it needs.
Yes, exactly. Balance. That's the right answer. Yeah.
And starting to come to a close, you said you're at work now. Do you work at a climbing gym?
I do, yeah. And I apologize if you hear the drilling behind me. They're setting the walls like just on the other side of this wall. So,
Okay. No, I can't
they're
hear it. I just want to say
right
if you
behind
wanted
me.
to plug the gym that you work at.
Yeah, so I'm in ROKC, so we have 3 locations in Kansas City. I don't do much on the wall, but I do on like all of our fitness stuff. So we do classes and personal training and have a full fitness facility as well as the climbing gym. So
That's pretty awesome that you have that because over by us we have a chain called Rock Spot. I don't know if you have that over there, but
okay.
it's kind of just climbing and then a gym that is less than what I have in my garage. So it's good that you're able to have both because to get a membership for a climbing gym where I love climbing, it's great for fear of heights, working on your grip, body awareness, and all that. But it's kind of a hard sell if it's just climbing and they don't have other exercises there. So it's pretty great that you have that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love it here, and like our owners and I'm a manager here. Like it's just a great team of people, and they love what I do. That like they love that I do this stuff on the weekends, and are very supportive. So it's
Yeah,
great.
and for what it's worth, I know I've heard of ROKC again. Like I've heard of it too, so that goes a long way as well.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, yeah. If you're ever in Kansas City, check
Yeah.
it out.
And then
Yeah.
any other sponsors or supporters that you'd like to thank?
For sure, VJ Shoes. They have been a big supporter of mine and are like supporting me through this and through Worlds and have a lot of faith in me. So I appreciate that. And honestly, their shoes, I know it's the tagline and people make fun of me, but the grip is amazing. Like you really, I've tried. Trust me, I've tried other shoes, but the grip, you really can't beat it. So definitely the best for obstacle course racing or like technical terrain and trail running. And then obviously all of our sponsors on Mud Gear, Handle Race Pro Team, like they're all great and treat us well. So Mud
Yeah,
Gear, obviously one of them too.
right. Going back to VJ, what did you wear for shoes for this race?
I wore their new Max 2s. So
Okay.
there's a little bit more cushion. It's got like the super performance foam in it, which the old version of the Max did not have. So a little bit wider toe box, a little more comfy, and then also still that grip. So,
Are those the green ones or
yes,
okay?
yes, they're like a light blue sole and then green top, not super bright green,
Okay.
like a lighter green. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think I have like the first Max, the Extreme 2,
Yes.
and then not the Spark. The Spark looks beautiful. I love the orange, but and that
Yeah.
the colors pop too. Like if you see someone running by, like you can identify the shoes pretty
Oh
quickly.
yeah. 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 It's easy to tell. And the old Macs are like the really bright, like in almost like a hard plastic outer shell kind of thing. So like even in the mud, those like really stand out too. So
The only time I had a problem with them was the first pair I got, which I got the Extremes, and I got them in my size, and I didn't do half a size up, and that just like
Mhm.
ate my pinky toe. But it sounds like they've fixed that, and
Yeah, I think they have. And I think they're each like version, if you read on the website, they're pretty good about like describing what size. Like some of them you want to size up a half a size, and some of them you want your actual size. So
yeah, yeah, big fan of VJ. Not a sponsor of the podcast, but Mud Gear is. So we love both of
yeah.
them.
Yeah, we love Bulgaria. And I made a post about this the other day. We were talking about feet and not having, foot issues and stuff with wet feet. I have always run in Mudgear socks. Like since I started doing this, Mudgear is what I use. And so I don't know if it's my feet or if maybe it's just actually the socks. Like I like them. They work, they hold up and my feet don't have issues. So
Yeah, I love them. That's
yeah.
it's my go-to. I wear the black and orange for OCR events, and I'm always rocking the hot pink for trail events because one, I look
Oh,
how
nice.
they look, and two, it's fun to get them. Well, not fun, but it's good to get them in October for Breast Cancer Awareness Month and all that too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then what's next for you in terms of events? You mentioned World's Toughest Mudder, but anything else planned?
I've got a couple local races here, trail races. I don't know if I should even say this because I'm not for sure. Like I'm still on the wait list, but apparently there's a good chance that I could get in with some different like tactics to try to get into it. But I would like to get into the Barkley Fall Classic. Like that is definitely a big goal between here and World. So we'll see.
That's exciting. So I'm familiar with the Barkley Marathons, the Fall Classic. Does that also involve orienteering?
No, thankfully, no, it does not.
Okay,
Because that's like the scary part, yeah, of everything to me. I think that it's like from what I understand, it's kind of like a loosey goose kind of marked trail. So like you do need to like pay a little bit more attention than probably your standard trail run, but it should be a marked course.
Okay. Because I know for myself, I'm a stereotypical like dumb runner. Like I'll keep moving, but just point me. I need to know where I'm going. Like I don't want a compass. I don't want any of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Gosh, even over the weekend at Toughest, like you're running with a headlamp on, and sometimes like if you're on like a section where it seems like the trail or road is like going this way, but even though it's like kind of marked, I'll still start like following them. I'm like, oh wait, that's not right, and then I have to turn. So yeah.
Plus, when you're tired and race brain, like mistakes like that definitely happen. So up to the race directors that have good marking there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And where can people follow you on social media?
I am J Overstreet Stir, like STR. It's been like my email address for, I don't even know, like 30 years. And someone set up this account a long time ago, but on Instagram, J Overstreet Stir. So
Perfect.
And then I do have Facebook too, but that's it. That's all the social media I do.
Nothing wrong with that. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come on, and yeah, congratulations on winning. That's very exciting.
Thank you. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Welcome back.
Thank you, Jenny Overstreet. See you in Florida. For related episodes, you can go back to episode 162, which is when I first met her and first had her on the show, which was OCR America 2. It says uncute. Uncut Audio Day 8, Casey Timber Challenge's Yeti with Jen Scott. Episode 385, which was earlier this year with Evan Preparis on Toughest Mudder Philadelphia, 100 OCR podiums and what is next. So that was another Toughest Mudder episode that we did this year. And then very recently, episode 397, OCR in the Midwest with Evan Preparis, where we talk about Casey Timber Challenge and a bunch of other events. We did miss some. Apologies. We didn't get them all. But that episode was pretty good too.
Subscribe and follow wherever you get your podcasts. We are Obstacle Running Adventures, but you already know that if you're listening.
Yeah, you can leave us a review, but more than anything, though, if you could share the show with a friend, that is one of my birthday wishes. Not the one that I like blew the candles to, but it's kind of.
Wait, you made a real wish?
Yeah, why not?
What was that?
You can't tell people because then it won't go true. It's not going true anyway. I want a successful podcast, guys. I want my numbers back.
Was that really your wish?
Yeah, I want a smooth transition to how the podcast changes is going to be next year.
Oh, yeah. I was hoping I was involved in the wish.
You're definitely involved with that.
Follow us on social media. We are on the Facebook and the Instagram and the Threads. And not more importantly, but if you have...
Different way to support.
If you have the monies, you can support us over on Patreon for as little as $2 or as many as $10.
Yeah, we have 2 Patreon videos that I plan to do later this week. It's a kind of busy week, but we will figure it out.
I think it's cute. You think I'm going to be making Patreon videos the first week of school.
Right, yeah. Well, you don't have to. You just have to be in it and talk a little bit. I have to do all the editing and stuff. It'll be fine. Coming up next, episode 400. Woohoo! Would have been awesome if the heads of Savage responded to my emails. But we will do something else. I went back and forth whether or not to call him out. I was kind of vague on all the other times. But god damn it, guys. I'm a huge fan of you. I feel like Stan. And
so if you're listening to this and you know the head of Savage Race,
bother them immensely, because I talked to Jessica, she's on our side. Ever since 2020, I reached out to him like, hey, there's not much going on. I love this whole Savage Anywhere thing. I did both Savage Anywhere 1 and 2, did all the workouts, loved it, raved about it, talked about it on the show. They never came on. So
what if you just called Taylor up?
What?
It's a reference. You don't get the reference.
No, did you get my Stan reference?
No.
Eminem?
Oh. So you made an Eminem's Eminem reference, and I made a Taylor Swift reference.
Fair. Yeah, so we'll figure something out for episode 400. There's a few things that I want to do, but we will do like the typical episode 400 celebration. We usually do a live intro and outro, right? Forgot about that. We'll have to do that. Keep up tradition.
Should I order the balloons?
We don't have to. Smaller balloons. They don't have to be as big.
Yeah, especially since our cat likes to eat the ribbon.
Right. Oh, God.
Remember we ate the 3-foot ribbon?
I do remember how you found it.
Pulled it out of his poop.
Mm-hmm. That was like some Jurassic Park stuff. Caitlin, do you have a joke or a quote to wrap this up?
I do. My quote is, "You made the brave choice to step out into the unknown, and though it seems like it will be some time before it starts to feel like home, your courage to be here truly matters. Keep taking this day by day, keep looking for the light in the little things, and let that pave the way for a meaningful life in the present moment, even though so much has changed." And then my joke, or I think it's more of a riddle, what does an overqualified circle have?
Oval, oblong, semicircle, 360 degrees, what?
360 degrees. Get it? Because they're overqualified.
Oh, I got it accidentally. I'll kind of half count it. All right, well, that just about wraps it up. My name is Michael Stefano.
And my name's Caitlin Ritter.
And we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening.
If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to subscribe to our show and write us a review on your favorite podcast app.
You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook and connect with us there.
Most importantly, we would appreciate it if you shared an episode with a friend so we can reach more ears.
Then continue to effectively shine a light on the people in our sport, as well as the events that we are so passionate about.
Our intro song is Streaker by Straight Up, and our outro music is Iron Call by The Best.
Saw that you won. I'm like, hey, I haven't had her on in 4 years, which is crazy to think of.
I can't believe that. I mean, that seems like forever ago, honestly, but like also I can't believe it was that long ago. So
Yeah. It's one of those things I hit. There's a certain point in time where I'm like, I've done this podcast more post-pandemic than pre-pandemic, and that felt really strange to me. I feel like everything got weird up to 2020 in terms of like remembering time.
totally.
At least.
Yeah. It's all kind of a blur.
In a
Fucking printer. I didn't get you singing Jenny from the Block.
Oh.
I wish I did.
Welcome back. Mikey, we have an hour and 1 minute left of your birthday.
Oh boy. What am I going to do during it? Edit.
That's a sad way to
That's
spend the last hour of your birthday.
This is the life I chose.
This is the life you chose, you're right.